Hello and welcome to this edition of Conversations with Camden. We're here tonight to bring you a virtual open house with the onset of COVID-19. We're having to do things virtual, the new normal like everyone else. And so we're going to have a couple of current cadets join us tonight, as well as one alum who also now works with us. And then myself, I'm the moderator. And again, I'm Casey, Director of Admissions. If you have any questions tonight, we ask you to please post them to social media using the hashtag CMA Open House. Again, a CMA Open House. That can be on any of our social media. It could be in the YouTube chat. It could be Facebook, Instagram, Snap. Any of those will work, and we will get to your questions. I want to thank you for joining us. And tonight we have a few guys, and I want them to start out by introducing themselves. Nick, why don't you tell us, your name, where you're from, how long you've been at Camden, that kind of thing.
All right. Hello, my name is Nicholas Ramirez, and I'm from Augusta, Georgia. And this will be my second year at Camden Military.
All right. How about William?
My name is William Pitt. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm a rising 12th grader. I've been at Camden for 3 years.
And Andre.
Hey guys, I'm Andre Suika. I am the Associate Director of Admissions at Camden Military, and I actually graduated in 2013.
Yes. So Andre was one of the young men that I interviewed, actually. So I've seen him on the before and after side already, and getting close to seeing these other two guys, William and Nick, on the other side too. One more year, guys. We're going to talk about a lot of things tonight, but one thing that we really want to talk about is the change in young men once they come to Camden. We'd like to think of ourselves as being transformational. These guys having a brighter future, more opportunities maybe once attending Camden, and we're going to kind of compare their old school life, maybe at a public school or private day school, to how the Camden experience affected them, and hopefully in a positive way. And then with Andre, we're going to talk to him about kind of maybe how things have changed, how things were, what he learned, and then maybe even what brought him back. So we're going to kick off tonight by talking about why Camden Military Academy. Why did you choose, or was it your idea? Was it your parents? So Nick, we'll start with you.
Okay, so my sophomore year of high school, I wasn't doing too well. So my parents were actually looking into a military school because one of my childhood friends was actually attending Camden. So we actually came up to his baccalaureate and graduation ceremony, and my parents just fell in love with it. And late June, we decided to go take a tour of the school, and we just liked it, and we chose to come here.
All right, good job. William, how about you?
Coming to Camden, it was my parents' decision. It wasn't really my say. I didn't have much of a choice, but I learned and I kind of grew as I came to Camden.
All right. Andre, what's your story?
Well, ultimately at the beginning, it was originally my parents' decision. Once they sat me down, we talked about it. We looked at a few other boarding schools. We decided Camden just because of how people. But ultimately, it was my parents' decision, and then we just came to the conclusion in the final round.
All right. None of these guys, they failed to mention the charming admissions director. So, yeah, I remember that. But want to talk about first impressions. A lot of people kind of think of military school and they automatically assume, a boot camp or prison. Was it really like that? What was your first impression, Nick?
For me, it was really just like a school with just like military type background. Not much boot camp, just uniforms.
William, how about you? When your parents first told you, hey, we're going to thinking about checking out Camden Military, what was your first reaction? And then what was it really like?
My first reaction probably was, why am I going to a boot camp? Why are my parents sending me here? As I went to Camden and experienced it, I realized that it was a lot more than actual boot camp and military. It was more schooling, focused on schooling, help in all aspects of school, and teachers who really were there for you.
All right. Now, Andre, a little bit different question for you. And I'm excited to hear this one as well. Why are you back? Did you love us that much? Tell us kind of what led you back to Camden.
Ultimately, what really led me back was the hospitality that you guys showed. Everything that you guys really did was just really homey. Um, I wanted to come back to really give the guys a chance that I had. When I got there, I was originally at the start just, why am I here? I don't want to be here. Um, but through the 2 years that I spent at Camden Military Academy, it really showed me the potential I had. And that's really why I want to come back. I want to help these guys get a chance that they didn't have elsewhere.
All right. Excellent. All right. Now we want to talk about a two-part question, Nick. So prepare yourself. Camden, what has it taught you personally in a way that you've improved since you've been here, but also academically? How have you improved?
Personally, for me, it's taught me respect. Before coming here, I was really disrespectful to my parents, and academically, it taught me a lot of organizational skills and study skills that I didn't have before.
All right. Pitt, how about the same question for you? How do you improve personally as well as academically?
Personally, I improved with time management, things like being on time, being prepared, and academically, I went from having like a 23 in my first semester English class of my ninth grade year to having straight A's and a 4.0 GPA right now.
All right. Yeah, a lot of young men that I talk to are not doing as well as they could be doing academically prior to Camden. And what we try to do is, of course, provide them the smaller classrooms and the structure. But most importantly, we have a supervised study hall. For many young men, they're very smart, they do well in class, but they don't do that homework, or they either complete it and don't turn it in. And so here with the teacher on the hall, making sure you stay on task, the first thing every teacher is going to check every day is the homework. Um, you know, guys are kind of amazed that how easy school becomes and how the grades shoot up if they actually do what they're supposed to be doing. And so I think the study hall was a big deal for a lot of young men coming in. Andre, what's a lesson maybe that Camden taught you while you were here that you kind of carried you through college and even now into your career?
The biggest lesson that Camden really taught me was respect your peers. Everyone that you come in contact with, just be honest with them, be respectable, just give them who you really are. That's what ultimately got me through college to where I am now, and I'm really happy with what Camden has taught me.
All right. We do have a question from Twitter coming in, so I want to remind everyone to post those questions. We want this to be interactive. You don't even have to speak. And if you did, we couldn't hear you. So we want to see the hashtag CMA Open House, and we'll ask these young men your questions and get you some good answers there. But from Twitter, we have, how hard was it to adjust to the lifestyle at Camden? Nick, let's go back to you for this one. How hard was it to get used to military school?
At first, I was nervous, and I was used to being kind of sort of sheltered in a way. But after about a week and meeting new friends and the TAC officers and then teachers, it just got really easy for me.
Pitt, same question.
For me, adjusting from my home life, being a freshman, to going to Camden, being surrounded by anywhere from seventh graders to seniors, it was different, but it took me probably 2 or 3 weeks to get completely adjusted, get everything down, and kind of know my role and know what I'm supposed to do. So,
a lot of young men tell me that they don't want to come. They'll visit and they're not excited about it, and I understand that. Out of 300 students, we maybe have 30 that are truly excited, and this was their lifelong dream. But the other 270, it was somebody else's idea. And oftentimes, when I ask the young man, "Why don't you want to come to Camden?" he'll say, "Well, I don't want to leave my friends." I want these young men to tell you a little bit about the friends that you will make at Camden. The friends you make here will be quite different probably than the friends you have at home. Andre, could you kind of expand on that a little bit about the brotherhood?
Yeah, just going back, brotherhood is incredible. I still talk with the guys that I graduated with on a lifelong basis. I talk with them every single day, every single month. I'm part of an old boys group, and I even see them during the homecoming weekend, alumni weekends, everything like that. So we always stay in touch. and we're always there for one another.
And Pitt and Ramirez, how hard is it to make friends once you're here? And talk to us a little bit about that brotherhood. And Pitt, we'll start with you this time.
When I first came to Camden, it wasn't very hard for me to make friends. I started playing basketball like as soon as I got there. Even though I wasn't that good, it gave me an outlet to make friends. And living with people, you come in contact with them all the time. So obviously, you do come in contact with different people that you'll become friends with really quick.
And Nick, same question. Is it hard to make friends?
Not at all. The first few days of school, I would have friends come to me. I would go to friends and try to make them because I knew I was leaving my home and coming to a new home, so I had to make friends.
Yeah, that's what I try to tell guys is everyone is in the same boat, for the most part. Like I said, 270, this wasn't their first idea. And so, coming here and being with a group of guys who are in similar situations, it really helps you bond. And of course, when you live with them and sleep with them and eat with them every meal, you can't help but, have a bond there. And the brotherhood is really cool. These guys that graduate, I stay in touch with them, a lot of them through social media, and I'll see, best men and weddings in the future. A lot of guys as groomsmen, things like that. And this is years after Camden. So, that's something I like to see grow here. All right. I want to talk a little bit about parents now. Guys, how did your relationship with your parents change since you enrolled at CMA? And Andre, we'll start with you. We'll go back to 2011 when your parents made the decision. Has your relationship improved since that time?
Honestly, the relationship with my parents, I couldn't ask for anything better right now. I call my dad on a daily basis every time driving home from work. I talk to my mom every single day. And it's just something that Camden has taught me is that my parents are number one. Second, I couldn't ask for any better parents. And Camden has ultimately just showed me that my parents gave me the life that I have right now. And I really thank them for that.
All right. Nick, how about you? Has your relationship with your parents changed at all since you've been enrolled at Camden?
Of course, 100%. So like I said earlier, I wasn't very respectful to my parents before, but coming to Camden, I knew that they wanted what was best for me, and they gave me this great opportunity. So I'm very thankful for them for doing this.
And Pitt, next we're going to hear from your dad in a short video, but has your relationship changed with your father since you've enrolled?
Yes, it was just like the whole chemistry between the relationship of me, my brother, my sister, and also my parents changed because I kind of realized how I was acting and accepted how I was acting. And I apologized to my little brother and I moved on with my relationship with him. And then I also improved my relationship with my parents. So
Very good. But you are supposed to fight a little bit with your little brother, okay? That's normal. So, all right. So now I want to play a video of William's dad, who sat down and gracious enough to do an interview for us. It's very short, about a minute and a half. And I'll see you on the other side of that with the presentation, just a brief PowerPoint presentation with all the nuts and bolts of CMA.
I got a text last week from William just taking ownership of his grades and self-reflection, but just to see his countenance and how he's carrying himself, and that he is successful and he knows with hard work he can be successful. So he's seeing the hard work pay off. The older cadets, his TAC officers, the teachers that are poured into him, it's pretty awesome with the time and investment that the men here have put into our son. His first call home was pretty memorable because he declared to us he knew he was in the right spot. And that was a huge first step. That he realized, hey, this isn't punishment, this is opportunity. And that's had to grow. It definitely didn't kick in the fourth week he was here. But to realize, I think there was a lot of self-reflection of, hey, how did I get to this place? And some of the stuff I was doing before isn't where I have to stay. And it's daily affirmation that this was the correct choice.
All right, and William, we'll get to your feelings on that video and how your dad actually feels and all that a little bit later. But right now, I want to jump into a brief presentation. We'll run through this, just a few slides, and then we'll get back into talking to these young men. Please post your questions, though, using the hashtag CMA Open House, and we will get to those questions. Give me a long list going, guys. All right, our location, we're in South Carolina, right in this geographical center of South Carolina, basically. We're 32 miles northeast of Columbia, which is the capital, and about an hour and a half south of Charlotte. So we go to NFL games and NBA games, big city life up in Charlotte, and then also Columbia's the capital city, but also a college town with the University of South Carolina and sporting events and different events that we attend there. The history of the school, we go back to 1892. It's an old picture there. And you can see our history. We were founded as Carlisle Military and have remained on campus here since 1958 as Camden Military Academy. We were founded to be a fitting school for a university here in the state, and we still are a college prep school today. So that's our main focus, and what we like to focus on is educating young men and helping them reach their full potential. Now, education is our most important job here, is to get these guys a good education and open up some opportunities for them for college. And we do that very traditionally here at Camden. Some of you watching may be familiar with a block schedule where you have an hour and a half class. Here, we do not do that. We have 6 classes a day that last about 40 minutes each. So, we feel like boys just need a break. They can't really focus for an hour and a half. And so we enjoy the shorter classes. We also have a very active learning environment. So in the classes, you'll be moving around a good bit versus just sitting there being lectured to. 95% of our guys go on to colleges for that's been over 10 years now. And we have our college listing on our website. So if you want to see what colleges young men attend after Camden, they are listed there. Typically, it's not Harvard and Yale, but we've had students in the past go to Vanderbilt on a full academic scholarship, UNC Chapel Hill. We had a student go to MIT. So, you know, we've had some of those elite schools, but most students go back to their state universities back at home. So we have young men here from over 36 states and 5 countries. And so typically they go back. We had a student enrolled in the University of Mongolia, and I didn't even know that was a thing a few years ago. So definitely going all over the world. The academic success, just a brief slide to kind of the ways that we shore up things. We talked about the study hall earlier, but you see here we give the young man grades every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, everyone gets a report card, and they're able to see, you know, teacher feedback and comments so that we can make adjustments every 2 weeks versus waiting until the report card comes out. You know, I've over the years interviewed a lot of young men who, especially if you're in like a 9-week report card system, they slack off the first 6 weeks or whatever to that interim report comes home. And then following that interim report, mom and dad gets on them and they manage to pull it out and squeak by for the 9 weeks. But here, I like to say we make guys panic every 2 weeks. So we're going to get on them every 2 weeks and kind of, you know, show them where they are and what needs to be improved. We do offer dual enrollment courses here and AP. So dual enrollments to the University of South Carolina, and those professors come here to campus. We don't have to transport students off campus to the big university. And then, of course, we focus on the SAT and ACT prep. You know, this very important as to where you will go the following year. So, you know, I understand that there may be some issues with COVID. They're talking about, you know, doing away with the SAT and ACT for at least 1 year. But we're still going to continue to have our programs here that prepare the young men for those tests just in case. Next slide is about things we learn outside the classroom, and that's what we're going to talk to these guys about. But personal development, we want these young men to have manners, you know how to act no matter what situation they're placed in, and be responsible for themselves, you know, not blaming on everyone else. Over the years, I've interviewed a lot of spoiled young men where the whole world revolves just around them. And when they get here, they realize that's not the case, that, you know, they're responsible to the other 50 or 60 young men in their barracks. And the world isn't just about them. And that's a big adjustment for a lot of these young men. And we'll probably talk about that in a bit. But that's usually the hardest one to figure out for these guys. Teamwork, you know, working together, that everything you do will have a consequence and you're responsible for that consequence. That's very important. And then leadership. Every young man has leadership opportunities while he's here. And we feel like every young man has potential to be a leader. And we're going to put you in different positions to help you achieve and figure out, you know, what am I a good leader in? Is it academics? Is it athletics? Is it military? All right, during our free time, you see things listed there that they can participate in. In addition, we have tons of clubs and different activities. But during the free time, everything listed there is on our campus. We have the first clay courts in the state of South Carolina for high school. So if you're a tennis player, you would like that. But all those activities and facilities are open, and we're going to be breaking ground on a new gym, hopefully in the fall, depending on how the COVID situation works out. And so I don't know if it'll be in use for the next school year, but the 21-22 school year, we'll have a new gym. Spiritual development, we do attend church here on Sunday mornings. So everyone has to attend. We have a full-time chaplain, but you can choose to go into town to a church of your choice. And Camden is a small town with more churches and banks than anything else. So if you need God or money, you're in the right city. But we'll provide all the transportation to any off-campus church or spiritual activities. And then physical development, of course, they get their 3 nutritious meals in the mess hall every day or the dining facility. And those meals are, family style. So bowls and platters are brought out to the table. The guys pass those around. If they run out, they can go back and get more. So it's kind of all you can eat. We have a salad bar in there. We have sandwiches. We have a dessert bar. So there's different, items. If you don't like one thing, there's probably something else on the table you'll like. And if not, that might be a salad day for you. And then the Carlisle House is where you can go and get junk food. You can have pizza. We actually started having fresh fruit over there. So some more healthier options, but typically that's where the junk food comes in. And then also through the care packages that we want all of our parents to send. So if you bring your young man here and drop him off, keep sending him care packages. Let him know you're thinking about him. It means a lot. These young men work hard to get that mail. They have to pass the room inspections. And believe it or not, mail actually is a big deal again. And then morning PT and drill. PT is physical training. So you see in the picture there, they're doing push-ups. But you can also look and see that the form of those push-ups are not spot on. So we're not really concerned about how flat your back is. It's more about just getting the activity and burning off the extra energy before the class starts. And then our athletic program, 13 different sports. You can actually be involved in any sport, even if you've never played it. We have a no-cut policy. The only sport that we cut in is basketball. So if you're a basketball player, you will have to try out, just because we can't have 50 people on a basketball team. But all the other sports, if you've never played lacrosse and you want to learn how to do that, you're on the team. You get to practice and travel and do all that fun stuff. So lots of opportunities to get involved. And that's one of the keys to Camden, is getting involved. TAC officers. These gentlemen are retired military men. They're college educated. Of course, that's the TAC officer there in the center. He will become like a second dad to these young men. He will be their best friend when they do things correctly and make good grades. It can also become your worst nightmare if you are, misbehaving or not doing so well academically. So, but anyway, you want to maintain parents. Maintain contact with him. He's your primary point of contact. So you want to make sure that you keep a good relationship with that TAC officer, and you'll see he becomes quickly like an extended part of the family. And the housing. You see there the barracks. We have barracks on our campus, or dorms, that date back to pre-World War II. But we also have barracks that were just recently completed in 2017. So, but a big age difference, but all of the barracks have been remodeled. They all have air conditioning and heat. You can't survive in South Carolina without air conditioning. It's hot today. So we want to make sure that people understand that even if you're placed in an older barrack, you still have all the amenities that the newer barracks have, other than maybe a little size. The new barracks a little bit larger. And then here's some of the extracurricular activities that I mentioned earlier that we have. Flight lessons is something unique that we offer. The Camden Airport is right next door, so young men are able to go over there and actually get their pilot license if they take enough lessons. Then we have a music program. Actually have a fine arts club. You can see the list there, and that's only like the top 10. There's many, many more that they can become involved in. We take trips all throughout the year. Academic field trips, of course, we'll go to the museum and the zoos and things like that, academics, but then we'll have fun. We like to have fun too. So we'll go snow skiing up in West Virginia. We go down to Florida and go to the theme parks in Central Florida, both Orlando and Tampa, DC, Myrtle Beach. That's not a big deal if you're on the East Coast or, live near the coast, but, someone that's here from Kansas and they've never seen the ocean before, it might be a big deal for them to go to Myrtle Beach. So we try to offer something for everybody, grade level wise, as well as something that would interest people from different regions of the country. Summer program. I'm going to skip over this one because we've actually canceled our summer program this year. Those were the dates, but due to COVID, we decided it was best not to offer summer school this year. to prepare the campus for the school year. So we will be opening on time this fall. That's the third weekend in August. But summer for this year is not available. We'll hopefully have it back next school year. And then the last slide there. The phone number, 1-800-948-6291. You can call at any time. We have people answering the phones here Monday through Saturday. CamdenMilitary.com, great resource. The application is online now, so everything that you need actually is at CamdenMilitary.com. There's an opportunity to watch more videos from the past, YouTube Lives, but you can kind of see. We have a virtual tour that will be posted hopefully within the next week of the inside of the schools. And actually, Andre made a golf cart video of the outdoor facility. So you can kind of go around and see, what the buildings look like. It's a little bumpy, so if you get car sick, you might want to take a Dramamine prior to watching it, but it does give you a good view of the campus. And lastly, of course, we do require a visit to campus. However, right now, visits are not allowed, so we're doing a lot of virtual visits. So we want to schedule an interview with you via Skype, FaceTime, Zoom, whichever platform works best for you. If you're not a technology person, we can do the old-fashioned interview. What we're going to do with parents this year especially is maybe do the virtual interview, but then have you visit campus just prior to the school year starting to make sure you feel good about what you see, meet teachers, things like that, and make sure it's a good solid lock for you. But that is the presentation. So my email address that's on the screen there, admissions@camdenmilitary.com. That is an email that comes straight to me. So it used to be Casey, but people could not spell my name. So I went back to admissions and at camdenmilitary.com, that all comes to me. All right, so guys, we're going to get back into the groove now after hearing me talk for so long. But we want to kind of move into social media. That's a great resource and a great way to kind of network with families that maybe already have young men here. Our social media is primarily student ran. So everything that you see out there, most of it anyway, was created by students. So we want to take a short video, look at a short video now that was created by the marketing class here. And just kind of, this was a fun, we call it the Camden High Five. It helps you to kind of get to know what the students are like. And so we're going to learn what Davis Long's spirit animal is.
Hey Walt, what's up?
Hey, so I'm coming at you with the Camden High Five. I got some questions for you. All right, so what's your favorite sport?
Football, for
Football.
sure.
Gotta love it. And what's your spirit animal?
A polar bear.
All right. What's your favorite uniform at CMA?
PT Winners.
And what makes you say PT Winners?
Because they're comfy.
Gotta love it. All right, so what's your favorite class here at CMA?
Probably marketing. We just get to have a lot of fun in there, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, so what's your goals for next year? I know you're a senior, ready to get out of here.
I plan on going to Clemson next year as a pre-business major.
Awesome. Sounds like fun. All right, Long. Well, you have a great rest of your day.
See you, man.
All right, and the reason I like to play those is because sometimes, young men say, oh, well, guys that go there, are a certain way or whatever. These are regular teenage boys. And so, we did learn there that Long's spirit animal is a polar bear. Kind of interesting. I like that answer, that he liked marketing because I actually teach that class. And then lastly, he was going to Clemson University. Not a fan. I tried to get him convinced to go to the University of South Carolina, but it didn't work. Thank you, viewers. Yeah, I have a handful of questions coming in, so really, really appreciative of that. Also want to remind you, if you haven't asked a question yet, you certainly are able to post to any of our social media using the hashtag CMA Open House, and we'll get to as many of those questions on air as possible. All right, the first question from Twitter. If I missed some of this, can I play it back? Absolutely. So what will happen is once we're done tonight, this will be on YouTube forever and ever. It'll also be at camdenmilitary.com. So you can just go to our website, go over to the media tab, the video gallery, and you will be able to watch it live in its entirety there. From YouTube, can you share with us information on college acceptance rates and how many of your graduates finish college? Yeah, so over 95% go to college. This year we had about 62 students in our graduating class, and I would say all but maybe 4 to 5 went to college. And again, that listing is available on our website at camdenmilitary.com. I believe, and Andre, you helped me with this, it is under academics, I believe. I think down at the bottom. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. just wanted to make sure. Andre helps me with the website. So, and then how many of our graduates finished college? Don't know that answer. I'm hoping the whopping majority. I know that there, universally is a large college freshman dropout rate. But what I've heard from admissions directors at these universities, they like students who have been off at a military boarding school for a couple of reasons. They've learned time management. So they're going to get up for that 8 o'clock class on Monday morning and, be in it. They've learned how to manage their time. They're going to, be able to be in a fraternity or play sports and, maintain their academics. So I would hope that our college graduation rate is very high as well. But that's something that's very hard to track. And I joke with family sometimes that our students end up from everywhere, from Yale to jail. Of course, we hear from the ones who are doing rather well, and we don't hear back from the ones that are not. From Twitter, how physically fit do you have to be to come to CMA? Nick, why don't you take that one? How physically fit do we require a lot out of you as far as PT, and talk a little about that?
No, not really. Like in the presentation earlier, we don't really care too much about the form, but we do want you to get your physical activity before class and just to keep yourself fit.
Yeah. And William, why don't you take us through kind of like what happens during PT and how often is it?
PT is every Tuesday and Friday. And so during PT, we'll do like push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, a bunch of different exercises just to get your blood flowing. We'll do running. I know my company does a lot of running, so we'll run around the track. Basically, it's just a bunch of exercises that it's a bunch of little amount of exercises. So it'll be maybe 15 different exercises, but we're only doing 10 of them. And it's just to do a bunch of different stuff, get your exercise out, and give it your all. So.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, they like to stay fit. So we have a number of them that like to work out and, in our gym and whatnot, but we don't require that. And, we have guys of all shapes and sizes here, that participate and make it through our PT. We don't do anything, that we wouldn't expect the 7th through 12th grader to do. So our 7th graders are doing the same exercises or expected to do the ssame exercises as our seniors and vice versa. So it's definitely not a drop and give me 20 scenario. And we're not like crawling through mud under live ammunition or anything like that. It's more calisthenics. All right, another question from YouTube. Good question. It says, I was wondering if y'all know who the tax will be for Alpha this year. We don't. Actually, it's kind of being finalized right now, and the answer will be revealed the first week in June. So if you want to give the school a call after Memorial Day, we should be able to answer your question as far as who the tax will be over in Alpha. We had 2 TAC officers retire. And that's something I want to say briefly too. A lot of our faculty TAC officers have longevity, lots of tenure here. I've been here for 22 years. The headmaster's been here for 37 years. He started out as athletic director and football coach and, has transitioned into headmaster. A lot of our faculty have been here 10 plus years. Our TAC officers, we have one on staff that's been here close to 30 years. So, and that was after he retired from the military. So, but we did have 2 retire this year. So we'll be bringing some new guys on board. All right, another question coming in from YouTube. Is policy debate an activity at CMA? I'm gonna say yes. I'm a little fuzzy on the question, but we do have a debate team. Are either of you guys in debate, by the way? No, okay. We do have a debate team, and they debate everything from politics to should we build more in the U.S. or be less dependent on foreign countries? That was a topic this past year. To of course, the traditional abortion, gun control, that type thing. So yes, we want them to be thinkers. We want them to be leaders. So we're going to talk about hot topic, things that are in the news. We also, it's very interesting because we have the international students here. You get an international take on things. So you may think, the Chinese feel this way about the US, but then when they're here, they find out that China really doesn't feel that way about a certain policy, so it's very interesting to be able to compare the cultures and, see from the other side. All right, let's see. Oh goodness, another good question from YouTube. Do you know yet how you will handle social distancing in the barracks? All right, so I'm going to kind of tell you what we did this year, which is going to be a repeat of what we do next year. This year, we did not close our school. We continued to go to classes. Our teachers taught in the classrooms. We gave the parents an option to go home if you wanted to pull your student off campus, if you didn't feel he was safe. You could take him home and do distance learning. However, about half of our students left and about half stayed. Keep in mind, we had students from hotspots in New York and Washington State and different places. So they were actually safer here in Camden, South Carolina than they would be in New York City. So anyway, those guys stayed back here with us. As far in the barracks, there's going to be 2 boys to a room still. These young men are already kind of social distanced, being at a boarding school. The only people really coming and going off campus are the teachers. And our teachers have a strict policy that they have to go by. All of our teachers wore masks at the end of the year and gloves. And we would continue that to the startup of this new year unless something amazing happens here in the next few weeks. But so we kind of plan to maintain what we're going to do as we finished up the school year last year. Finished it very successful. We had no positive virus tests here on campus. And actually, we had a lower flu count this year than we've had in the past, which was quite encouraging as well. Hoping a vaccine or something like that would be available. Doubt if it will be. So we will have a screening process, though, for all students coming in. We're going to take temperatures. We're going to, of course, ask you about your prior travel, things like that. But maybe a 14-day quarantine, which means it's not a quarantine like we've all been doing at home where you can't go out at all, but just you're kind of confined to your room. So we're going to close those free time facilities, maybe the Carlisle house and the gym, and make these guys just kind of go from school back to their barracks to kind of, if someone did bring a bug on, that it's not going to, go through everyone. So anyway, that's our preliminary plans. We have tons of backup plans, but we work very closely with the governor's office here in South Carolina, as well as the Department of Health and Environmental Control. Our headmaster has a daily meeting with those 2 entities to get updates and, best practices and all that. All right. And let's see. Hey, guys, question for you. Good. What kind of things are best to bring from home? Nick, what's some things you brought with you from home?
I brought my PlayStation. I brought some pictures of my family and just some regular civilian clothes, really.
Yeah, you can't bring those civilian clothes. Most things that you have in your room now, you can bring. And guess what, guys? You can actually bring electronics. So, William, tell them the electronic policy.
So our electronic policy is mostly using your phone and stuff during free time. So no phones in the classroom. You can bring your Xbox. You can bring all your electronics. If you have a college class, you'll be able to use your laptop in class, but it'll be monitored by the teachers. We have a pretty strict policy on electronics. So usually just free time, own room recall. During study hall, absolutely no electronics. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so the policy with electronics is, if you're going to abuse it, we're going to take it. But a lot of boarding schools and most military schools do not allow any electronics. But we want our young men to have these electronics because time management. We know that they may be here 1 year or 5 years. But when they leave here, all of that technology, all of those electronics will be available to them. And hopefully we've taught them how to use it responsibly and manage their time wisely on it. All right, Andre, what would you say is something that you would be sure to tell a prospective student to bring with them, maybe that you didn't bring yourself?
To a prospective student, I would bring cards from family. I would bring pictures of family. Another thing is, if you're into music, bring your guitar, bring your banjo, bring anything you want. You're allowed to play that in the free time as long as you are academically great, as long as you are respectful of those types of things. You can have pretty much anything you want. Just bring what you like to do.
Yeah. And Andre, I want to ask you, obviously you're one of our students who finished college that someone asked earlier. So, what did Camden give you maybe? Did you feel like you had an advantage over other students in college? And how did we kind of prepare you for the real world or the workforce?
Yeah. So the biggest thing that really Camden ultimately prepared me for is organization. If I didn't have the organizational skills going into college that I had from here, I wouldn't make it to class on time at 8 a.m., 7:30, wake up, or go get breakfast. I wouldn't have made it. And then keeping track of your daily assignments. That was a big part of it as well. My first year of college, I did incredible just because I had everything written down. I made sure that everything was set to go. So those organizational skills that really helped me improve.
All right. And William and Nick, I'm going to ask you both the same question, but of course, not the workforce part. But how do you feel like, or I guess, what's the most important lesson you've learned here that's helped you improve either as a person or academically? William, we'll start with you.
The most important thing I've learned probably is getting my work done on time, being timely, and getting it in on time. I know that used to be a problem for me before. I would sometimes do the work, not take it, lose track of it. So being very punctual, being ready to go, and being responsible.
Mhm. And Nick, same question.
For me, it would be the organizational skills and writing down stuff in my planner, like assignments and test dates.
Yeah, you can tell, organization is a big deal with us. And, having a daily schedule, it takes away the what ifs. Also wearing uniforms, it takes away what do I wear today to look cool for that girl that's in class? We don't have to worry about that here. So we're all going to pretty much be doing the same thing, but staying organized, learning how to study. Study skills is really important as well. They're very vital to success. And a lot of young men, maybe when they start here, didn't have study skills or never been really taught how to study. So we do spend some time with that as well. I have a question coming in from YouTube. It says, how often can parents visit? We have a very open door policy. Parents can visit as often as they like. First 3 weeks, there's no parent visits. And that's just because, your son's going to be homesick, and we don't want moms, slumped over in the car driving through campus, and, she's crying, and then the boy cries, and then we cry. So we don't want any of that going on. So for the first 3 weeks, there's no visits. But after the first 3 weeks, you're able to visit campus as much as you like. Nick, you're pretty close down near Augusta, Georgia. So how often do you get to see your parents?
Usually every 3 weeks, we have a furlough. But if you're off in another state, maybe it'll be hard for flight travel and money in that situation.
Yeah. Andre, you were from Florida. So how often did your parents make it up?
Yeah, it was really cool. With the Amtrak service, it actually stops right in Camden and right in my hometown, Winter Park, Florida. So I was able to get home more than most students could. But even with that, it's tough out of state, but you all have friends and you can go home with friends and everything like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Our international students, our students from out west, California, Washington State, Oregon, they'll find friends that live here in the Southeast, and especially parents if you live near the coast. Guys will become your friends very quickly and want to come home with you for the weekend, things like that. So, and that's okay with us. We clear it with both sets of parents, of course, but it also has to pass by and get the approval of the TAC officer, because Casey may be a good guy, Andre a good guy, but then when you put us together, we have too much fun. So you don't want that coming to your house. So we'll always listen to the TAC officer. Even if both parents are in agreement, the TAC says no, there's a reason. So trust him. Another question from YouTube. How often can students leave campus and stay at home? Oh, okay. We kind of touched that with the furlough weekends, but we also have breaks where you can actually go home let me start at the beginning of the year. We start the third week in August, as I mentioned earlier. Then we have a fall break in October, which is 5 days where you can go. That's an optional furlough, so students are not required to leave campus. The school remains open and we remain fully functional, all operational during that time. Then we have a Thanksgiving break, which is about a week long, and then our Christmas break is about 2.5 to 3 weeks long. We have a President's Day weekend, long weekend of 5 days again. And then we have spring break, which is usually around Easter and lasts a week. So whenever the breaks occur, which is Thanksgiving break, spring break, and Christmas break, you have to leave campus. We close down. I often joke that we want a break too. So we're going to send everybody home. That gives everybody a chance to recharge, and then we're back. But keep in mind, you will have those furloughs about once a month where you can, guys can travel home, or you can travel here to campus and take them out overnight. Another question coming in from YouTube. We live in New Jersey, but my sister lives in South Carolina. Lucky sister. Can students be released to family members on weekends or holidays? Absolutely. You will give us a list of people who are allowed to sign students in and out as long as the sister is over 21. So you have to be 21 or older and on an approved sign out list, and they're able to sign out. And a lot of people will do that, and take them out to dinner. Just warn your sister that probably if she comes to visit her nephew, he's going to probably have two other guys wanting to go out to Chick-fil-A with him or to the movies with him or something. So she might be springing for 3 instead of just 1. All right. And then from Twitter, do guys have to shave their heads? William, you've got the longest hair, so talk to us about the shaving heads.
We do not have to have our head shaved. We do have a standardized haircut, so it'll be 2 inches on the top with the sides faded up. During the COVID, I actually stayed on campus, but there were no haircuts, so my hair is extremely long now. So that's pretty nice.
I like the hair. If I had that much, I would wear it like that too. All right. Nick, how about you? What would you say is the initial? I know the initial haircut is pretty shocking to most guys because it goes pretty short. But I think we allow guys to have their individual style with their hair. Do you agree?
Yes. So like Pitt said, 2 inches on the top and faded up on the sides. Usually in the beginning, like you said, it's just going to be standard. But after that, you can get a high and tight. You can buzz your head if you want, and or you can just keep it standard.
Yeah. And these guys say 2 inches. I think we're more on the lenient side of the 2 inches. So yeah, if you look through our yearbook or some of the pictures on the website or through our social media, you'll see the type of haircuts that guys must have. But the first haircut at the beginning of the year is pretty short, and we want everyone to look the same. But then as the year progresses, you have your own style. Now, Andre, that's changed a bit, right? Because when you were here, people had short hair.
Oh, yeah. We were not allowed to have 2 inches on top. It used to be short or nothing. You could have your hair cut short. You could have an inch on top, but that's about it.
Yeah. I think I've seen Andre's scalp, many times over the years. So, all right. Want to talk to you guys about tips for prospective students. So if someone's watching tonight and, they don't want to come, mom and dad brought this crazy idea of military school up. What would you say to that guy if you could talk to him one-on-one? And Nick, you go first.
One thing is, there's no need to be nervous. The kids are going to take you in really quickly. You're going to make super good friends. The teachers, they're here to help you. The TAC officers, they're going to be nice as long as you do the right thing.
Pitt, what kind of advice would you offer?
I would just say to hit the ground running and just start off to your full potential, and there will be other people there like your TAC officers, teachers, other students, upperclassmen there to help you reach that potential and kind of better yourself.
And Andre, you've kind of seen things from both sides of the fence now, being a student and now being an administrator. So what advice would you give to a young man who's maybe considering this, but, actually their parents are considering it and the boy's kind of not buying into it?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I would recommend is come see campus for yourself. Come to one of our open houses because we have students here, we have cadets here that will sit with you, talk with you, enjoy the week. So definitely come hang out with them throughout the weekend. Through that open house, we'll give you Chick-fil-A, we'll give you drinks, and it's a really great time. And then the second thing that I would say is just come be yourself. We're all young men of different ages, and 7th through 12th grade, we're all growing the same, and we all want that love and attention, whether we have ADHD, anything else like that. Just come as yourself. Be yourself.
Good answer. Yeah. And Andre mentioned something very important, open house. I mentioned earlier that the campus was closed to visitors. That's individual appointments. We are having an open house on a Saturday morning at 9 a.m. On both June 13th and July 11th. Double check those dates. Make sure it's a Saturday. If that's not the correct date, it's the closest Saturday to that date that I just said. But they are listed on our website as well. But yeah, come to the campus that day. We're going to have some requirements. You have to wear a mask. We'll have on a mask. We're going to walk around and show you the facilities. You'll go inside only one building, which is the barracks, so you can kind of see where the young men live and what a room looks like, that kind of thing. But yeah, just seeing the campus usually relaxes most of these guys. I think at our first open house in June, Pitt is going to come down. So actually, he would be a familiar face that you could talk to if you come to that open house. And I don't have my attendees yet ready for the July open house, but yeah, come see us if you can. But just remember, bring that mask. We'll have some mask here if you don't have one. I know they're hot and they're annoying, but DHEC says we have to wear them, so we have to wear them right now. All right, from YouTube, how do you handle students that are on prescription meds? Oh, very good question. And taking vitamins and whatnot. Any type of medication is kept with our nurses. We have 3 nurses here, and she keeps all over the counter as well as prescription meds down in the infirmary. She will come around to the barracks first thing in the morning and again last thing at night to distribute those meds. So young men are not allowed to have anything in their barracks, whether it be over the counter or prescription, again, all through the nurse. As far as refills go, she'll stay in contact with you and let you know when we need another supply. And that would just be something that you ship to us. It either has to go through UPS or FedEx. It just can't be shipped through the postal service. But other than that, yeah, that's it. Okay, whoops. Okay, I've been corrected. So our open house is actually June 13th and July 11th. So I think I might have flipped the dates earlier. So our open house is June 13th and July 11th, both Saturdays and both at 9 a.m. But again, that exact information is on our website at camdenmilitary.com under the open house tab. All right, we're going to ask these guys a pretty important question. What would you say your most proud moment was while you were at CMA, Andre? What's something that really stands out to you?
The proudest moment that I had at CMA was graduating. My 9th grade, 10th grade year, I wasn't doing so hot, and I didn't think I was going to graduate at all. I thought I was going to go wherever, straight into the workforce in some minimal paying job or to jail or somewhere else. But my graduation day was the proudest because my parents were there, my whole family was there, and you could just tell that they were extremely proud of me.
All right. Nick, same question for you. What would you say your most proud moment has been here at CMA?
For me, that would be grades and hearing my mom and dad call me up and say how proud of me they were.
That is a nice feeling, right? When mom and dad brags on you.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you know you've turned the corner at that point. And William, same question. What's something that's maybe something happened here that you are really proud about?
My proudest moment, I think, would be getting the rank of first sergeant last year, and being able to take charge of a company of 60 people, being accountable for 60 people, making sure everybody's present, and just kind of moving up in the ranks, I guess.
Yeah. And speaking of moving up in the ranks, both of these young men joining us tonight, Ramirez and Pitt, will actually be S5s next year, which means they get to help admissions. So they're going to be working with me and Andre up here in the admissions office. They will be responsible for our social media. So if you see any misspellings, it's their fault. If you see a post that you really, really like, it's our fault. But these guys will be handling all the Snapchats, Instagrams, post to Facebook, and things like that. So they'll be getting some heavy duty training in the not too distant future. Got a question from YouTube. We covered it, but we will cover it again. Am I allowed to bring my phone? That is an important question for a teenager. Nick, tell them the rules about the phone.
Okay, so for the rules for the phone, you are not allowed to use it during school hours and study hall. But yes, you are allowed to bring your phone. Just use it during free time and time that you have to yourself.
Now, we talked a moment ago about being proud and all that. And William, your dad, of course, we played a video earlier where he talked about the changes he had seen in you and all of that. So has your dad ever told you, or have you heard him bragging to someone else maybe about how you've changed and how well you're doing?
Right. My dad reminds me a lot of just how proud he is of me for bettering myself and taking it upon myself to change, rather than him kind of forcing it. It's really cool to see that he says it's really cool to see what his investment kind of paid off for. So.
Yeah. And Andre, how about you? I think your dad is very proud because he still comments all the time on our social media posts. Hey, Stan, I bet you're watching. But Andre, is he still proud of you?
He's still extremely proud of me. He called me a little bit earlier today probably about 5:30 and said, "It's showtime." And I said, "Okay, Dad, it's not till 7, but it's coming." But he loves seeing where I am today, and still tells me to this minute how proud he is.
Awesome. All right. And guys, one more subject I want to tackle. We're starting to run out of time, but if you do have a last minute question, just use that hashtag CMA Open House. Again, hashtag CMA Open House, and we will get to those questions. If it doesn't make it on air tonight, I will send you an email. Or send me an email and I'll respond to you. admissions@camdenmilitary.com. Again, that's admissions@camdenmilitary.com. Question I want to ask is something that Camden really separates us from the field of other military schools, in my opinion anyway, is that we kind of have a family atmosphere here. Kind of, I think one of the guys used the word homey earlier. In what ways does it kind of feel like home, Nick, once you're here?
For sure, I miss all my friends whenever I go on furloughs, and I'm actually missing them right now. I kind of wish I did stay on campus for the corona because of that reason.
Yeah, so the friends again, that's a big deal. And yeah, the staying on campus, it was amazing to me at how many guys left initially, and then they called us back like a couple of weeks later. Can we come back? No, we couldn't let them back because we didn't know where they had been or exposed to. But yeah, so that's pretty common. Pitt, how about you? Does this feel like home to you when you're here at Camden?
It does feel like home to me. I mean, you have your brothers. It is a brotherhood to me. But you have your brothers with you all the time. You do everything together. You have your TAC officers who are like another set of parents. And going to Camden in ninth grade, I had a bunch of big brothers, and now next year I'll be the big brother to other people. So it's changing, but it's still a family atmosphere.
And Andre, do you see that on both sides, from the administration point and from the student point of view?
Yeah, on both sides. From a student point, it was that brotherhood that we spoke about multiple times already throughout this entire conversation. I had an older brother growing up, and he would give me noogies. He'd throw me under the pool, and that's what's going to happen here. We're a bunch of brothers. And then on the administration side is we're going to be open and honest with you regardless. We're going to bring you in, give you some sweet tea, sit on the front porch with you, and enjoy it just like South Carolina does. But we are definitely very welcoming of everyone, and we want you here.
Absolutely. All right. We do love our sweet tea in South Carolina. So I've had people from New York and New Jersey that have never had it. And boy, I've heard, and I've actually had a mom from Boston who never had it. She visited last spring. And when I went to Boston to do a recruiting event later on in the spring, she actually invited me to her house for some homemade sweet tea. So she had actually started making it at home. I didn't taste it though, so I can't tell you how it was. All right. Guys, I want to kind of close up with Nick and William at least. Tell me, it's a sacrifice for a lot of parents to send their son off to boarding school. It's an emotional sacrifice. It's a financial sacrifice. So your parents may be in that house with you. I don't know if they're watching, but what would you say to them if you could talk to them now? Nick, we'll start with you.
100%, I would say thank you for this opportunity.
And Pitt, how about you?
I would say to my parents, thank you, but I'd also kind of set the stage for graduating next year and kind of challenge them to watch me do the best I can next year.
Very good answer. I like that. I thought you were going to challenge them to straight A's and you get a car or something like that. So, Andre, what would you say to your parents? I know there was a lot of, again, emotional and financial sacrifice.
Yeah, Dad, I know you're watching. Thank you so much. I love you guys regardless of the things that we went through in the past. And I know that you guys can see a difference. And I'm excited for continued future with everything. And thank you.
All right. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up tonight for this edition of Conversations with Camden. And we will be back with a YouTube Live. We're also doing weekly Zoom meetings, a little more personal. We can actually see you and you can see us and ask questions. We actually have one of those tomorrow at noon. So if you want to ask more immediate questions, you can do that. Also, always give Andre or myself a call. Again, my email address is admissions@camdenmilitary.com. Andre's is enroll@camdenmilitary.com. Trust me, nobody wants to try to spell Suica. So we changed it to enroll@camdenmilitary.com. All right, guys, thank you all for joining us, Nick and William, for taking time out of your night, and Andre to be on here with us. And we'll see you on campus soon. And again, guys, send us your questions. Come visit us at our open house. And until next time, good night from Camden.